Hello, everybody, and welcome to Bugbear's Basement. I am Chester C. Busby III, and I'm welcome all of you to be here, and we're very happy to have you. And of course, today we're doing something a little bit different, as we tend to do on Bugbear's Basement. We are coming into episode 2 of God's Blood. This is a Marvel superhero role-playing game. It's kind of a blast from the past from TSR, and we're playing inside of this tabletop role-playing system. And I do hate the fact that I need to put tabletop in front of that because we didn't used to have to, but we do these days. But nevertheless, we're going to be jumping into it real quick. But of course, I want to come over here and say hello to the panel and see how they're doing today. So we'll start out with you, DeWolf Man. How's it going today?
Good, good. Nothing big to report.
Nothing big to report. Well, there you go, guys. Lively and interesting. Uh, how about you, Denali? What's going on, dude?
Nothing much. Nothing big to report.
Wow. George, help me out. We got some love from you, man.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Today has been the premiere of my very first humor article that I have done in the last 8 years. It's on Bleeding Fool. It's a great humorous article on if you're a writer and you don't know how to draw, how can you get a comic book produced?
Oh, there you
Yes,
go.
now that is something to
That is
report.
handy.
I read that. That's a good article.
Did you laugh? That's the whole point. Did you laugh?
I think I chuckled twice.
2 chuckles.
Oh, I only got 2 chuckles out of you.
Yeah.
Oh,
Now, George,
I'm
you're kind of hinting and teasing some art here. What is this character you're working on?
this is the Denelli's character that I have been working on revisions and changes, and now I think I'm at the point where I can actually just lay in some flat colors, and I can start picking and choosing those flat colors and adjusting them to our beloved Denelli's tastes.
Okay, I thought that's what I was looking at, but this is not today's character. It's a different character. Yeah, okay.
This is the character right here.
Oh, there's your little oh goodness gracious. He went sexy, guys. Yeah, definitely sexy girl.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, this is
which makes makes it more funny with the action scene.
That's funny, Ricky Tikitavi. And of course, this sexy thing is the one that's going around assaulting poor innocent women and yeah, murderous Ricky. Yes,
that's right. That's right. She
Yeah.
she acts without thinking. She
does.
throws the dice and lets it go to the wind.
Yeah. Uh, excellent. And of course, we're also joined by an observer today. How you doing there, Todd?
Oh, I'm doing good. I did not realize what you guys are up to today. Maybe I'll hang around, maybe I won't, but I do, I do love being on this show and I've gotten to know all of you guys, and I really appreciate your support because when you come in with sort of some feelings and you guys simmer me down a little bit, that's what this is really about is making contact with friends and becoming more than just acquaintances,
Oh, absolutely, dude. These guys calm me down all the time. Yeah, otherwise I'd be ranting all over the place.
I'm going to throw this out there. If any one of those guys are not available to talk to, just hit me up. I work from home. I'm usually always available. Always, usually, unless things happen.
Unless he's not.
Thank you.
There you go. Yeah. But no, of course, always, dude. We are friends here, and of course, you are one of us since nearly the beginning, dude. I mean, you came on real early with us, and you've been helping ever since, and we appreciate it for sure. But nevertheless, today is about role-playing games, and we are going with a small crew here, 3, normally in a D&D game that would be more. You can run it, but it would be a more difficult situation. But the cool thing about this game, and thought I see Thunder over in the chat. You could come here and join us too, dude. One of us, yeah, Freaks. That was a really good movie. But one of the good things about this role-playing system is the characters start out as heroes, right? Whereas in the D&D game, they might well be heroic, and they're certainly above the pale, but they're first level characters. Now, of course, you can start a high level campaign. I get that. But in general, the concept is your young heroes working to become something. And I mentioned D&D, but we could take a look at any role-playing game. They're all like that. You start at first level. This game does not have levels, actually, and you start out as a full-fledged superhero, depending on your power
I
level.
don't know about that. I don't know about that, Chester. Um, you have high power possibilities
Yeah.
because of the way the game starts off, because it's randomized as to whether or not you have a high power base, which would be like someone like more like a Jubilee character. She has this power. It does fire off something. It can cause damage. But she hasn't, or even Scott Summers, right? His eye blasts can just destroy something of great uh, material strength. But the ability to control it is where the difference between the starting character
Yeah,
and the later
that's true.
characters are different. And as far as being a hero, well, that's always subjective.
Well, I was speaking more about levels, but of course that is correct. In this game, instead we have ranks, and lots of them. So it's you're trying to level up ranks. I would say something that this is comparable to, and I have an inkling. I have an inkling that the guys who created Vampire the Masquerade with a really cool pool point system, I have a feeling they took a little bit off of this game, actually, because if you can look beyond the veneer of Vampire and the Marvel game, and look down into the hard mechanics of it, there is a lot of similarity. And I think they took, I think one of the creators liked it, and they said this is different and cool, and then they went and they made it even more cool and more different. I feel that something like that happened. I'm not making any accusations at all. I think this is probably something that happened. And of course, everything comes from something else. We've already discussed that. But but yeah, no, absolutely. But it's a really cool game, especially the way it flows and the ease of use. But what I'd like to do here, real quick, before we jump back in today, and I'll do a recap of everything, of course. What I'd like to do is to give everybody to once again just introduce your character real quick. And if you did, I don't know if you guys got some art. We already saw George's, but we don't need that. I'll come back later to it. But George, why don't you go ahead and start? Tell us who your character is, please.
Yes, my character is Ricky the Mongoose. Her real name is Hukchu Gesundheit. She's a speedster. She's age 21, and she can travel really fast, hyperspeed. She has light powers. She has X-ray vision, and she is able to control her emotions.
She is. Are you sure? I don't know.
No one else can manipulate
I might
her.
argue that
Yeah.
point a little bit.
Um,
Anyway, all right.
and yeah, that's it so far. Yeah, she's a breed too. She is a breed.
Yeah. All right. All right. I'll take it. I'll take it, George.
I'll just zoom in here so you can see her up close.
Which means, of course, that she was born to other people that had superpowers.
Yes.
Because that's not a very odd statement to make, by the way.
It is, and I'll explain how that works in the spiel I'll do here in a moment. I'll reintroduce that.
No one wants my check.
Anyway, go ahead, Denali. Tell them who you are.
All right, my character is Ranrock. His real name is Chris Ward. He was an orphan that was raised by the Jupiter City and has been introduced as part of the Jupiter 10 crew for superheroes. He's one of those projects to kind of see if they can develop superhero protectors since the aliens and the Sentinel has disappeared years ago. He is super strong. He's 15, and seems like the only one with common sense within the group.
Oh wow, that's a statement. Shots fired, I guess, huh? All right. And of course, it's cool. The reason why I'm asking them to reintroduce themselves is because if you can remember from last week to this week, their characters have more, they're more solid, right? Just from the descriptions they're giving, they understand who the character is more. And that's a cool thing about role playing. Your character develops as you play. One of the great things I love about it. We have a lot more detail from them today than we did last week. And of course, last we have the last member, we have DeWolf.
Well, yes, I've got the mental guy of the group, and he has the telekinesis as a power, and he can form use that to form a shield around himself as well as fly. And his big power, as far as this goes, being this super force that tracks down people and things, is his clairvoyance, his ability to see faraway places and can communicate that to the other players.
Awesome, awesome. And yeah, comic book Bob, this is Marvel superhero again. This is episode 2. And Mutants and Masterminds is awesome. I've run many games of that. It's a fun game. It's a D20 superhero game, and it's done well, I think. Another really good early one that had randomness and all the kind of cool stuff of the initial systems was Villains and Vigilantes, and they just came out with the, I don't know, the third edition or something. I did get it. I have it around here somewhere, but that I thought that was a pretty good rendition. Nevertheless, all right, I'm going to jump into it here. So I'm going to give my kind of opening spiel and just reiterate what happened. All right. Welcome to God's Blood. This is what I'm calling this series. It's a fun little idea, and let me get into what that is. All right. In the year 2020, at the Olympic Games, everyone was enjoying the opening ceremony, and all of a sudden the sky turned green. A lot of reporters and stuff came forward and is trying to make various accusations or claims or, trying to say what they think it was. And of course, the real problem was it was worldwide, and this lasted for a long time. People were really getting worried. Then the rain started within a day, and the flooding over 3 days was intense because there was flooding the whole world around. There was rain, and it caused a lot of trouble and damage. But of course, what ended up happening was uh, after the storms, we had a bunch of aliens arrive, and they are called the Lagon. And the Lagon came and explained what they had done was is they were fighting a mad god, and they had with an alliance, and they had destroyed the god, but his consciousness escaped, and that 3-day period was where all the trauma was going on. Was this god's consciousness passing through the planet, as it were, and it had caused all of this trouble. And then, of course, as time went on, more people had gotten sick from the rain, and a lot of people died. And the ones who were affected and didn't die changed. And this is where mutants came from. And they call them the God touched because the rain that fell was considered metaphorically like a God's blood. But the Lagon stayed for a long time, kept things quite stable for a while. But they had other things to do, and they had left a sentinel on the planet to try to help us. But there was a big fight after just a few years of the Sentinel being here, and some big baddies took. They're not exactly sure who, but somebody took down the Sentinel, and it died. After that, there was a lot of chaos on the planet, and war ripped through everything, and uh, it created this incredible schism across the planet. Now, for the past decade or so, more peaceful things have come together, and this has a lot to do with the fact of the creation of the UKA, which is the United Kingdom's Alliance. And this UKA has done a good thing to bring a lot of peace. And of course, the Order of the Sun is a big part of that. They're kind of a semi-secret private organization that has somewhat policing authority through the UKA, and they not accessed into all the various kingdoms, nations, or whatever they call themselves across the planet, because there are thousands of them. But in general, they have much influence and interaction. Our team here is actually from one of the great Eries that had been created over even during the warring times, because this is about the year 2080, and they're from particularly the Jupiter Erie. And they're called Jupiter 10 because they are the 10th team created on this Erie to go out and help enforce the orders and the UKA's intentions. Right. So kind of think of this team as kind of like an Interpol. All right. And also, their main point of contact for this group is Mr. Tillman. He's the one who gives them their assignments, and their assignments for this adventure was there's a group called the Blue Lotus. They're a Tong out of China or Asia, and they seemingly have found a way to control the God touched. Now, of course, this is a major issue. We can't have that, right? So the entire order, and of course the UK itself, is full on trying to deal with this situation. And our team, even though it's a new team, are part of this. Now, they haven't been sent directly after the Blue Lotus themselves, but they have been sent to collect information. In particular, they have been sent to New Pittsburgh. Now, New Pittsburgh, especially in the great giant pit that sits in the middle of the city, this is controlled by a type of gang. Think of it kind of like a shadow punk or type of game, punk, gang. Sorry, they're mafia-like, and they're cyborgs, and they are working with the Blue Lotus. So the team is here to infiltrate, capture, gain information, and try to figure out what's going on. That's their main purpose. And of course, last week, even though it took a long time and a lot of indecision, they did eventually capture
Easy.
they did easy, yeah. They did eventually capture one of these people, one of these gang members, and they're called the Razorbacks, is the name of this gang. And they have captured one. They have one in tow, and they're currently flying through the air on the 10th ring. And therefore, I'm going to start exactly where we left off and ask you the simple question of where are you going with him?
First off, I'm making sure that the crew's with me on the ground, and I need to really just find a location where we can meet together. So I'm thinking, several blocks, 8 blocks down the street, around the corner, and then landing in order to secure him, more appropriately, possibly in the vehicle.
Okay, well, you can communicate, so with them telepathically, of course. So
Yep.
I'm assuming you're arranging this. So you're the one that has the dude. So tell him
Yeah.
what to do, dude. Organize it.
There you go. Well, all right. You see that large glowing red sign right there. All right, we're gonna um, go just below that. I'm gonna land, and we're gonna discuss what to do with this guy. So there you go.
Mm,
So
All right.
are you
So,
telling Denelli to bring the vehicle that is you
Yeah,
tell
he's
him to
driving it. Yeah,
he
yeah. Bring
could
the
be.
vehicle.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then of course the runner. She should just meet us there.
Okay. All right. So you get to your location and what do you want to do? Yeah, now exactly where are you? You're on top of a building, right?
No, no. Well, I'm on the ground. I'm gonna wait here for the car to pull up.
Okay. The car pulls up.
So there you go. All right. Now the car, I wait for them to get out or whatever. All right, guys. Um, we can't necessarily use their car. I think we should just go ahead and ditch the car, and we could go straight back to our transport, and then we will have to deal with this guy because we were told to come get a Razorback. That was our first orders. So we have him. We're either going to bring him back for questioning or something else of that nature. We have to report back that we have him. So I would assume that we have the ability to restrain him back at our transport.
I would
and
assume
then
you
keep a
would too.
watch. So we're gonna keep a watch out down the road. I can lift remarkable people with my telekinetic strength.
Yeah, you could lift the whole group if you wanted, including the Razorback.
So all right, okay.
And do
So
keep
that
in
being the
mind,
case,
last session we've established that he has full control over this individual because he actually got a red roll, and the Razorback failed literally like a critical failure, as it would be in D&D.
yeah. As long as something doesn't disrupt my
Yeah, no,
concentration.
you got him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then in the meantime, we want Ricky to get a uniform on that has armor, like a good material protection.
Yeah, that might be useful.
Excellent. I'm glad you're thinking the same way I'm thinking, because we should have that. So,
Well,
all
you
right,
have to where you go to get it though.
where we're gonna get it? Well, we're part of the awesome force of the.
You
They
are.
have.
So are you telling me that you want to take him back to your transport and transport this Razorback back to Jupiter?
At least take him back to our transport, and we should be able to find. We should have something there to bind him up and restrain him, and possibly question him, and whatnot.
Well, you are a policing force, so you would certainly have a detention a room or cell on the transport, and you also have a med bay and stuff like that. It is built for what you're doing, literally, of course.
All right. Okay. So we go back. We're heading back that direction. And then I guess we'll fly at rooftop level so we don't attract too much attention.
Okay.
And what was that other thought I just had? Yeah, and then report back, right? We'll contact Jupiter and say we have a Razorback. What's our next orders, if any?
Okay. Well, seeing as you guys head back quite directly and quickly, you will not find any resistance along the way, especially because you're not in the deeper levels of this giant pit. So you do get back, and of course you do know the authorities here in New Pittsburgh. New Pittsburgh is notorious as a black market town. Of course, they still do a lot of the business they did in the past. They're still pulling iron out of the ground as they have always have. But they're very interested in becoming part of the UKAA and getting all the benefits that come with that. So they're being a lot more cooperative than, say, they normally would, because you guys are well aware that this government is corrupt to the core, and more than likely the Razorbacks have their hands in many things here. But they're cooperating 100% because they want in. So it's a bit of an advantage for you guys, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So you get back and you communicate. You get everybody back in. You get him secured. Is anyone going to keep an eye on him?
I'll keep an eye on him.
All right. And George, you did find your way back, right?
Yes, I did, and I am scrounging for armor.
Okay. You could. Ooh, so you're not going to be with him. You're going to be running around the town looking for armor.
Yeah.
Okay.
You
So
know,
I'll get back to you in a second. All right. So basically, we have Envoy and Ragnarok are sitting on the transport. Ragnarok is watching the prisoner, and he's very quiet, by the way. And to give you an idea what they look like, this is a picture here of what I just took off the internet, and I think I recognize his character. I think he's one of Kojima's characters, but I used it. This is a Razorback Hunter. We might run into there later, maybe, but that's what they look like. They look like that. But you guys give a call back to Jupiter Erie, and of course, you're put in contact very quickly to Mr. Tillman. He says, "Well, that was quick. Tell me what you had to report."
Well, certainly. We investigated both a headquarters area. It seems like the Razorbacks, which first off, we do have one with us. Also, that we took from more of a leisure area, and they were having a meeting and trying to get together a lot more people into their organization. And what would be HQ, they're trying to establish a government functioning concept here. and also using cybernetics to create a cybernetic control people as well.
And he says, well, yes, I was aware of, I was given the feed to your cell, and I do see the Razorback there is being held, and of course the initial information about the cyborg nation is kind of happening across the entire planet, and we this is another issue that other groups are dealing with, but good on you for finding that. And he says, but the main concern I have is about their connection to the Blue Lotus and them being hired by the Blue Lotus to capture, in particularly, breed. Breed God Touch. Now, as I had said, you heard George say he's a breed. Now, what that simply means is they are generational mutants, meaning they're not the firstborn. They are born of mutant parents or God Touch parents, and they call them breeds. And It's a very interesting thing because the original generation, the ones who were changed, there's still many alive because many of their abilities gave them longevity. So it's only 60 years past. So there are a good percentage of the original infected, as it were, still running around, but they're not after them at all. They are after the children, the breed. And this is what your main focus of this group is to find out, you know, what to find out how the Razorbacks are doing that, and any kind of connection to Blue Lotus. Now, for so far, we've seen no Lotus connection at all in this story, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So,
Go ahead, Mel.
while you guys ponder the information that you have and what you've successfully done, and think about how you want to try to go about interrogating this guy, because you need to get information from him, and he is some manner of boss. He was leading the meeting. He was yelling at all the other underlings, and he made a call, and a bunch of them showed up quite quickly to try to defend him. So we
Mhm.
don't know what level of leader he is, but he certainly has some authority. But Let me go over to George. Now, George, you are literally running around the town, this city, and you're looking for armor.
Yes, I am.
So it takes you a little bit. I'll say, if you're being extremely focused, I'd say it takes you about an hour to find a armor shop.
Okay.
All right, and you do find one. I mean, this city is kind of the Wild West, right? I mean, the cops here are can be bought and sold, and it's just this is not a normal city. So it's having everybody being armed, especially on the lower rings, is quite common. You can find a shop, and with the credit line you have available through the Order of the Sun, of course, you can pretty much get what you need. And you're concerned, you understand they're concerned that you took a lot of damage, and you need to probably go sit in a med bay, by the way, after you get this armor. You understand their concern, but you're also worried about slowing yourself down. Okay, so you
Yep.
find you probably heard of this before. It's kind of famous. It's a technological invention that came out during the war. Actually, it's called black silk, and black silk is a polymer that functions a lot like cloth. But it's super tough, and it was a turning point in the war, actually, for one side over another, in a particular a region of combat that was going on. And black silk has become quite famous, although it's a bit expensive. But You don't care about those things. You're Ricky. You're gonna get yourself some black silk armor, and they can. There's a suit just made here off the rack that will fit you just fine. It's like I said, it's extremely expensive, but you just kind of put it on the Order of the Sun's credit card, as it were, and you get this. Now, what this does for you is it gives you good protection versus physical damage, and it gives you excellent protection versus energy damage.
Okay.
All right. All right. And now, George, you need to head back to that transport and get yourself in a med bay because you are not in good shape, dude. I mean, what's your health right now?
My health is 56.
Yeah. What was your total health from the beginning?
Oh, I didn't write that down.
Well,
I lost it.
you have it. What your health is you have a total health.
Give me a sec. Let me just bring up my sheet.
Yeah, you could probably need that. Yeah. You can hear the sarcasm in my voice, right?
Duly noted.
All right. So my health is 56. My total health would be where in my list?
Your fighting, agility, strength, and endurance added together.
Oh, okay, got it. My fighting agility, strength, and endurance. So that's 20, 50, 100, 106.
106. So you're half, basically. You're at half health. So you definitely need to go get in a med bay. So George is going to head back. You guys see him come back into the transport, and he's wearing a beautiful black silk suit. And I don't know uh, Ragnarok would think, seeing he's so young, but Envoy has probably just had a cringe moment because he understands how ridiculously expensive that is.
Awesome.
Awesome. All right, so you've had Denali and DeWolf. You guys have had some time. How do you want to proceed here?
I look at Chief and I'm saying, well, can't you do the mind thing
Well, he
on him?
can't read minds, dude. He doesn't have that ability.
Mm,
He can telepathically link minds to communicate, but he can't read minds now.
I see. I mean, well,
Could
couldn't we talk to Tillman and ask him if there's a expert back on base or someone they can send to interrogate him?
Oh, most certainly. Yeah. And uh, have we lost DeWolf? Sounds like
Sounds
we
like he's
have.
having mic.
He's
Yeah.
having mic troubles. Yeah, no, you guys could simply just take off and bring it back to Jupiter. It's not that far a ride in this ship. This is a fast ship. I mean, your point
Right.
was to get someone for interrogation. You've
Yeah,
done that.
that's what we're gonna do. Since the wolf isn't here for the
And
moment, we're gonna take.
and Ricky needs time in
Go
the bath anyway.
Exactly.
Yep.
She needs to heal up, and we need to get an expert to get the information needed, and then get some more information for the next mission.
All right. So you guys take the ship back. Like I said, it takes a short period of time for this, a few hours, right? And you
Hmm.
come flying back into the Jupiter Erie. And of course, you land at an order facility, of course, and all these Eries. Well, not all of them, but the initial 9, which is why they named after the 9 planets. These are all completely controlled by the order. So this is friendly territory. Excuse me. But you land. Of course, there's a detachment of guards, guardians that are there, and they take him into custody, and they're going to take care of it. So Ricky's going to be in the bath for a little bit, but you and Envoy actually have some time. You're back in your home turf. You have some time to kill until you get a call from Mr. Tillman again. So what would you like to do?
I probably would be looking for a little bit of armor because I feel like we're gonna get into a
You
bigger
don't need
scrape.
any armor at all.
Yeah.
You are armor. Well, no, seriously. Yeah, you don't
Yeah.
need armor. No. Now, you might, since you've gone into combat, for real combat for the first time, because you've
Hmm.
certainly been training for, like I said, a couple of years. You guys been trained to do this job, but this is your first time in real combat. So you might have noticed something like maybe it would be smart for you to have a range weapon on you, possibly.
Yes.
I'd say that's the only place you're really lacking.
Right. So I would be looking for a ranged weapon
Okay.
suitable for me
All right.
and
So
my size.
because you're a combat specialist, that's what you are. You're not
Hmm.
the computer guy. You're not the stealth guy. You're the knock him in the head guy, right?
Yep.
So, what kind of weapon would you look for? Of course, now in these days, everything there are some projectile weapons, but it's considered quite primitive. Everything these days is energy based. But what kind of weapon would you like to carry?
I something that's not so big that it would make me struggle to aim, and something that's kind of portable that I can pull out quickly and
A
hide
pistol,
if I
maybe,
needed to. A pistol, yeah,
like a holdout pistol or something like that.
right.
All right. You basically go and you go to the armory and you have to fill out a bunch of paperwork, as of course this is an extremely pedantic organization. You take the time doing that, and then you're able to go into the armory and you talk to Mr. Pierce. And Mr. Pierce says, "Oh, hello! I'm always happy to see new Jupiter team members. You're Jupiter 10, aren't you?"
Yes, I am.
He says, "Yes, I read all about you. Yeah, all of you. You have amazing powers. I'm so happy to be part of this and helping out. So, what can I do for you today?"
I'm trying to get a ranged pistol that I can use since that's my current weakness from this recent mission, and I wanted to cover it. So, what would you recommend
Oh, he says,
uh,
"Oh, I
as a
have
ranged weapon for?
I have something perfect, especially for someone your size. I have the LMHP 54. It's exactly what you need." And I hope you wrote that down because I won't remember it. But he basically hands
So,
you kind
you
of like
said
Han Solo's pistol.
HP
Something like that. It's a laser
74.
pistol. All right, and in the way this is pretty standard in this world. Laser pistols will do excellent damage, which of course is 20 points, and they have a range of 5. Okay, and the energy cell that's in it is actually technically like they're like 50, and you could carry extra, but we're not going to worry about counting ammunition because that's far more pedantic than what type of game we're playing. But
Mhm.
you do have a couple of extra clips on you too. Just write it down so it's on the sheet. Okay.
It's on the sheet. Yep.
All right. Anyway, you sign off for it, and of course, as you know, this as some of the other equipment is owned by the orders, not owned by you. But you know that's pretty standard for you. Have we got DeWolf back? Did we lose DeWolf permanently? I don't
Not sure.
know. His mic's not working. I don't know. Hmm. Well, all I can do is go forward. Anyway, so the nighttime comes, and you guys, Denali, you go around and you maybe go practice or would you gone or whatever you do, and eventually, as you're moving around there's a district in the city which is specifically for Jupiter teams. Think of it as the Olympic Village, as it were. And
Oh, okay.
you're milling around there doing something, and of course Ricky comes walking up, all nice and healed and pretty. So you're back up to full
Um.
health, Ricky.
Uh. Question
Yeah.
for the karma. Do I just put it back that it's back to normal,
Oh no, no, no. We
or
haven't had. I'm going to do that momentarily. Yeah, hold on to that.
okay?
Don't touch anything. Any karma you're
Okay.
spent is still spent, and I gave you karma last week in the form of XP, right?
Right.
Okay, and we can cover how to deal with that. Well, we'll do it right now since we're waiting for DeWolf. Now, I gave you how much XP did I give you last week? Three something, I think.
Uh. You gave me 250.
Was it 250? Okay. All
Yeah,
right.
it was
So,
200 and then 50 more because I was intelligent.
oh, there you go. All right. That 250, which you can do, like for instance, tell me. And then your strength and endurance are already pretty high. So if you want to make them higher, it's gonna take more experience than you have. But let's give me one of your lower abilities. Let's say your intuition. What is that?
My intuition 10.
It's 10. Okay. Now you're a kid. That's why your intuition is low. And this
Right.
is certainly something you can improve. Now, what you can do very simply, if you
Hmm.
wanted to take that 10 to an 11, it would cost you 110 experience points to do that. So you basically take whatever the number you're going up to and add a zero. Very simple, right? And it works that way for everything. Now, that won't change the rank. It's still a good rank. You're still rolling under that same column. And just
Hmm.
to so everybody can understand what I'm talking about, let me come back to the chart here. This game is a little bit different than other games. It's not like you get a +3 or what have you. This system is you have ranks, and each rank you roll a percentile dice, getting something between 1 and 100, and you reference this chart. So say we're looking at some incredible feat, which is pretty incredible. It's high, right? And we roll the dice and say we got ourselves a 65, right? And we look right here.
Right.
Here's 65, and we bring it all the way over to incredible, and it shows us that is a yellow feat. In this game, the green, yellow, and red feats will have different
Chester,
effects. Yes.
before you move on, you're not showing that to the panel, but you are showing it to everybody else, just to let you know.
Oh, that's right. I guess I should share with you guys. You're not seeing the art I have up either, huh?
Nope.
All
I
right.
demand that Ranrock get heavy bolt throwers that does extra lightning call Majoran, and someone has to call their gun Vera.
All right. Yeah, I'm gonna have to. I do like that for you guys. That's only showing you that other thing here. Hmm. So, hmm. I'll have to come back to that in a minute. But anyway,
That's fine.
that's how this system works. Okay. So if you took your good, your 10, which you have a 10, I put you guys all at the middle levels, and you had a 10 and brought you up to 11, you would still be under the good rank. But if eventually you can bring that up to 16, then you
Hmm.
would move into the excellent rank for your intuition, and that would mean how well you saw things and interpreted things. Um, you know, so that's how that works. So let me come back over here to this.
If I wanted to if I want to go from typical, say, guess I have 6
Hmm.
for psych, um, and for reasoning, and I
Hmm.
want to go 4 levels, that would be 400. And
Well, to go to that ranking, if you wanted to go
yeah,
from typical to good, for instance, right?
all right.
If you want to go typical to good, so if we look here, you're sitting on a 6 because, like I said, it puts you at the standard middle levels. You need to get to a
Hmm.
10. So you would you need a 70, an 80, a 90, and a 100. So it's not 400, it's less. But yeah,
Okay, so
yeah, that's how it
so
works. That's
so
how
you
it
said
works.
a 70, an 80, a 90, and a 100.
Yeah, you would need all that to get up, to raise that. But of course, your typical reason isn't really important for your character to actually raise that. Keep that in mind, right?
Right. No, no, no.
But if you want to take your incredible strength and you want to move it up to amazing, you would have to spend, 410, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera,
Hmm.
to get yourself up, and that's a lot. But of course, last session you didn't get a lot of XP because you guys didn't really do much,
Right.
right? So, have we got DeWolf back? Have we got George? Wow.
I'm here. I'm here.
All right, George. Do you understand everything I just said about how to spend your experience points?
Uh, yeah.
Okay.
That's a
You
that's a weak no.
yes, it's right now you don't have much to work with, so I'd kind of probably hold on to it. Also keep in mind you can take your XP and create a pool, an actual pool, and you would write that down in your character sheet, karma pool, and you would take whatever you want from XP you get and drop it in there from session to session. And in that pool, you have to specify what it's for. Like say you wanted a whole brand new power that is completely separate than any power you have. That costs 1,000 XP, right? But If you you can also take some of this experience points you have, or actually some of your experience you have in your active pool, and you can use it in play to do power stunts. Now, a power stunt is you take a power that you have and you do something newish off of it, right? We saw DeWolf demonstrate that last week. And that costs you 100, and once you've done it 5 times successfully, then you have that new power, as it were. But it's actually just kind of an array off of the ability you already have. That's kind of how that works. Do I have DeWolf back yet? No, huh? Wow, that's not good. All right. But anyway, um, you guys chit chat or do whatever you have to do, and of course, you go to sleep and you wake up the next day. So this is what happens. Now, normally, you would get health back, but based on your endurance. So whatever your endurance is, you would get health back. But of course, we healed George in a med bay, and I don't think Denali took any damage at all. Right?
I took about 30, but
Okay.
if you say endurance, I'm back to full health.
There you go. So you get your endurance back every morning. Okay. Another thing you get back is this. Now, Denali, you used some of your active karma last week, right?
Right.
Okay.
So my
So
total karma is 22, and the current pool that I have active is 11.
right. So that's all we care about is that 11. That's all we
Hmm.
care about, because the other karma pool is just because if you raise your reason and you raise your intuition and psych, well, your karma pool goes up, right? As well.
Right.
So that's a separate number that doesn't really have anything to do with anything right now. It's that active number. Now, what I need you to do is tell me, what is your psych roll? What is your psych rank?
6.
It's a 6. Okay. So what you do is you gain every morning. You gain back 6 to your active pool. So you go from 11 to 17.
All right.
Okay.
Which is
And
what.
George,
Which
did
is
you
why.
use? Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, that's why I said. That's why I was thinking of maybe raising psych.
No, makes
Not so
sense.
much
No,
intelligent.
it
Yeah.
absolutely makes sense. And the lower things are easier and quicker to raise, right? George,
Right.
did you use Karma last week?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, so what is your active pool currently?
Um, car active is 64,
And what is your total?
70,
Okay, and what is your psych?
10. Good 10.
All right, so you're back up to full.
No. So I just bring my 64 up to 70.
Yep. You can't go over your
Okay.
max, of course. But that's how that works, guys. Now, this is a homebrew rule. For those of you watching who do know the Marvel superhero role playing game, it's not normally like that. You spend karma and you get your karma all sits in one pool at all times, and you can pool it off for separate things later. But I never like that because it's too restrictive. Why would you not have your moxie? With you always. Now, sometimes after hard fights, your moxie, your karma would be really low, right? And it might take you time of recuperation to get it back. That makes sense to me, and this is why I put this system in play because I think it works a lot better. And then when you get your karma from play, that goes into your XP karma pool, and you can do whatever you're allowed to do with it from there. I think this works a lot better for the system. And there's a couple other tweaks that I've done over the years that I'm not really introducing here per se today. I actually added a whole eighth rank to most of my homebrew games, but I'm not getting that deep. I'm trying to stick to the standard rules because I want to demonstrate this game to you. But nevertheless, you guys wake up, you have yourself a bit of breakfast, kind of normal. You're back home, right? So you're comfortable and relaxed. But you do get a call from Mr. Tillman, and he asks you to come back into his office.
All right. We're there, or at least Ryan Rock is. Can't
Oh,
speak for
well,
the
I'm
others.
sure. I'm sure Ricky shows up too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm sure DeWolf is there as well. I don't know what's going on with the DeWolf and his mic. I don't know what's happened. Did he leave a message somewhere or something like that?
Mm-mm. He's
Yeah,
probably got pulled away.
he probably did. Well, hopefully we'll have him back very shortly because I can't really proceed without him. This team's small enough as it is. Um, all right. Well, uh, he comes back and he says, "Welcome, welcome. Please have a seat. Hopefully, you had a good evening and got some relaxation because we're about to send you back into it." And he goes on to explain that their interrogation techniques are more chemical. So they didn't really have to force anything out. They just kind of used a truth serum, as it were, and got the information that they needed from him. Unfortunately, this guy was more of a lieutenant. Not an actual boss, so he didn't have a lot of particular inside information. And actually, Mr. Tillman was a bit surprised how compartmentalized this gang, seemingly gang, is. They're actually far more organized than he would expect. But then again, that's probably why the Blue Lotus, who is extremely organized, it was working with them in particular. And he they did give him some information. This is what they got. They are working for the Blue Lotus. He knew this. They have been tasked by the Blue Lotus of collecting breeds, particularly younger ones. They'll take whatever they can catch, but mainly they really want younger breeds. So they're looking for the children of the original God Touched is what they want. They don't want God Touched at all. They're very specific about that. And they've been going around trying to collect, but the Blue Lotus is extremely demanding, and he is terrified of them. And this was they don't know exactly why. It was such a deep secret to him that they couldn't pull that out. But something has terrified him of this Blue Lotus so much that he desperately, just like the rest of the Razorbacks, want to get this done. And they weren't really collecting enough for the Blue Lotus, so that's why he was in that meeting at that kind of hangout, the kind of bar, really, what it was, trying to get the lower ranking members to pick up the pace, as it were. And so he doesn't have much information about the Blue Lotus himself, but he does know where their base is in New Pittsburgh. Which is a new piece of information because, as far as the Order of the Sun was aware, there was no Blue Lotus representation in New Pittsburgh, but it turns out there is. It's sitting on Ring 15, and he gave you the exact location. Unfortunately, that's all the information he has. So, what the order needs you to do is you need to go in there. You need to infiltrate this headquarters, and you need to find out exactly what's going on. Now, mainly this is a recon mission, but if you see an opportunity to shut this thing down, take it. Any questions?
Nope.
So you want to see sneak in mostly to get information, and if the opportunity, just to clarify, if the opportunity arise or something happens out of our control, to shut it down completely.
Well,
Maybe mass destruction.
this is part of your training, young man. As a field agent for the Order of the Sun, of course, working under the UKA, you need to make infield decisions, and we'll leave that up to you. Do keep in mind that New Pittsburgh is not actually part of the UKA, so all stipulations, rules, and various other bylaws do not necessarily apply. Wink, wink.
I see. All right. That's was there any other information that he gave out, like strength or who has contact with going over there, or
Well,
was that?
of course, the Razorbacks control the city nearly
Mhm.
completely. Uh, actually, he doesn't have all the information about the upper, like a council or people who control politicians very much. He's just a lieutenant,
Mhm.
and he's literally one of the lieutenants of Ring 10. He's gone down to a couple of meetings on 15 at the Blue Lotus. Base because he's a lieutenant, so they kind of called them all together and had a kind of information thing. He does not know the complete order and strength of the Blue Lotus base, but they certainly have guards and protection. And he said they were very shadowy type of figures that they kind of were. He never really got a good look at them. But they looked like they were guards or stuff. They were in the background. And like I said, there is something about the Blue Lotus that absolutely terrifies him. But there was such a deep-seated fear they couldn't dig that out with the truth serum.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
But yeah, it's
I
not an
think.
easy mission. But your power level is capable of it, though. Because
Okay.
technically, even though George is a little squishy, you guys are each of you individually are more powerful than a Razorback, an individual Razorback. And keep in mind, in this game, the Razorbacks, even though it's a name of organization, there are actually members that are also called Razorbacks, and they are made men. If you think about a mafia, these guys are the elite. They're the made men of it. So most of the members of the Razorback were, a gang, are just kind of street level cyborgs. They're all cyborgs, by the way. This is a cyborg nation centric group. But the Razorbacks themselves, which you did capture one, they are they are the boss type or the made men type of characters, and of course they're much more difficult fight. I mean, one on one, each of you should be able to win, but they're no joke. So, all right, and once again, I have to see. Do we have DeWolf? Nothing, huh? Anybody? We have any communication with him? Let me take just a quick second to check my various places here and see if he's left me a message that I'm not seeing. I don't see anything here. Hmm. Come over here. Yeah, I
Is
don't
it
see.
possible? Is it possible to put this on hold until next week?
I think I'm going to have to. I
Because
mean, it's kind of
Yep.
unfortunate. I was kind of hoping to do the infiltration tonight, but yeah, I can't do it without DeWolf. I can't. This is a really tight little team, and it works actually. If you guys can get your act together, this is a tight little team that to be able to deal with this kind of mission. That's why I built it around the idea. Of course, I had to downscale a little bit because we had a couple other people who decided not to show up. Um, but that's okay. That was easy for me to do. Let me just check the chat real quick and give him a couple more minutes. And he's saying, "Oh no, why yes." He's over here talking. That was from
That was before.
before.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's not much. Of course, they're just listening, and I don't know if there's a huge group here anyway. Beowulf says Chester's a tweaker. Need to make a character with me after the show so I can play too. Yeah, sure, dude. We can definitely throw you in. And actually, this was Act Two. Wanted to get finished tonight, and then Act Three was, I've got to be elsewhere. So it's fine. Actually, you could be just another one of the members of Jupiter 10. And yeah, I'd love for you to come over and make a character Beowulf. That would be cool. And it kind of looks like that's what you and I are going to do. So, matter of fact, why don't you come on and let's do that? That's what we'll do. We'll halt the gameplay today, unfortunately. I'm sorry. But and we will bring Beowulf on and we'll create his character. How about that? You want to do that?
awesome.
Sounds
Sure.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's too bad though, because things were flowing along there.
Yep.
And I really, I don't know. Tell me what you guys think. Of course, I don't. I'm not. I'm sharing with you now, but you guys in the chat, how do you like the kind of like visual storybook thing I'm doing with this presentation? I'm basically moving back and forth to images. It's like a storybook, right? With the imagery that I'm using. Well, what do you think about this style? Is it cool or is it lame or I don't know? What do you think?
If the chat hasn't said anything, I think it's really cool. Helps visualize the whole enchilada.
It does, doesn't it? I like it. I
Oh,
think it's cool.
totally.
And
Totally.
yeah, everything's got a little name on it, and I think it's very easy. And I love Mr. Tillman. He's super cool. Yeah. because that's me, right? It doesn't look anything like me, but yeah, I hope you guys are liking it. The concept of because role playing is very much a something that takes place in your imagination, of course. But sitting around a table, you have everybody's there. You have dice. You can see their body movements, their gestures, because some people are really good at putting on voices or doing various things like that, which I'm not particularly good at. But these kind of things at the table help that visualization. We're sitting here over the internet, which is basically looking through the void. So I thought adding a little bit of imagery would be kind of cool. And it's too bad because I had a lot of extra really cool stuff to show, to more images to show today, but we'll have to do that next week. Is Beowulf in here yet? No.
Nope.
All right. Well, it's one of
There he
those
is. He
days,
just
man.
he just jumped in.
Oh, there he is. Okay, cool, cool, cool. All right, guys. Well,
That's things.
unfortunately, I'm going to put a halt to the gameplay today, and we're going to make a character for Beowulf. So well, we're still staying somewhat on target. And all right, so I'm going to stop presenting that, and I'm going to come over here, and instead I'm going to present Beowulf, and I'm going to make him full page. Matter of fact, I think. I can't do that with this one. That's right. And let me come back up here to Hangouts. All right. So Beowulf, how you doing, man? Can I hear you? Can you speak to me?
I'm good. Can you hear me?
I'm great. And how are you doing, Todd? What did you think of that? That was an hour of bringing everything up to speed and getting a little bit done. Basically, there was a lot of basically storytelling was going on in that hour. But what do you think about what we got going on over here?
Oh, that was pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Yeah, it's
I
fun.
mean, yeah, and I could follow along. It wasn't like they said, it wasn't that you do. I think it's you lend yourself to that, and it helps if that makes sense.
Storytelling, yeah. Sure. And I had actually, when you get into the actual gameplay, you get a lot more detail of stuff, like what the room looks like, what the characters look like, smells, and all those kind of things kind of come out as you're playing. This was more of an
Plus,
overview.
plus, I love how deadpan you sort of gig people like, and so I throw an arrow, and it was blocked.
Yeah, well, as I have been accused of being a master of sideways shade, but yeah, that's the tri-state in me, though. That's the New Englander in me, right? We
Right.
we are always about the sideways shade. It's kind of cultural. But anyway, Beowulf. All right, dude. Now,
Yes, sir.
what we have now I know you're a role player, so you have experience with that. Do you have any experience with the Marvel role playing system itself?
Not now, not with this system. I tried looking at it. I'm not sure if I got the correct rule set, but I think I do.
Well, share
So,
it. Let me see it.
all right, just opening it up. Hang on a sec. Ba-da-ba-da-ba-da. I can't remember how to share screen. Hang on a sec.
It's in the Hangouts. It's up in the upper right-hand corner.
Share screen.
Mhm. I'm also going to drop a link in the Hangouts for you for dice, because this is that is the old rules. That's like the basic
Okay.
rules. And I think for purposes of you just getting a feel of how the game plays, give a read through. Those are very short rules. I think that's actually probably perfect. Yeah, that's not
All right.
working. Hold on a second.
And while you're doing that, Sporkman Goes to Japan Indiegogo campaign has gone live, and they already have 14 backers at 660.
Sweet.
So
That's awesome.
good job, Sporkman Studios.
Yes, we
Much
do like
success for you.
Sporkman Studios here for sure.
Brad did a alternative cover, which was really nice looking.
All right. Now, in the Hangouts there, Beowulf, I just dropped a link. Did you see what I just did?
I did not see a link. Where is it?
So in your Hangouts, right? In the Hangouts, on the lower left-hand side, there's a little chat bubble button. Just click on that
Mm-hmm.
and open it up, and you see I put a teal dice link there. Go ahead and click on that link, and it's going to give you a digital an array of dice. And
You want to drop it again because it didn't show up?
sure. All right, I'll do it again. You have to open it, right?
Yeah, I've got it open.
Okay, and here we go again. You see that? I see you, by
No.
the way. So
Yeah, I don't see you, but I'll just Google it. Teal dice set.
no, it's called it's no WW, but it's a dot teall dot info/dice/.
All right, got it.
Awesome. All right. And that's you'll see there's an array of dice there. You want to take the 10 sider and the percentile sider because that's what we're going to be using. That's all you need.
All right, and I'll
All
share
right.
my screen.
Just percentile dice. Yeah, share your screen. Yeah. Do you have some kind of paper to write on or something like that?
Yeah, I've just got a document.
Awesome. Now, reading through the basic rules they're very simple. They're really truncated. I'm using, of course, the later advanced rules, but actually. To understand the game, I would suggest any of you read the basic rules because it's really a short read. It's only going to take you like an hour or something, and that'll give you a real good idea what the game, how it works, and everything like that. The advanced rules have made some adjustments and stuff, but no big deal. It will allow you to understand the game quite clearly. So you get your piece of paper ready, yeah, or your document or whatever. So let's go ahead and start. Now, this game, of course, is one of the old games. System is coming out of the 70s, so everything is random. Now we could, put that aside and make something, but you'll see the way this system is built, you can mitigate the randomness, and that's another cool thing about this system. So just go ahead and give me one of those percentile dice, and we'll start out.
All right, is it sharing properly?
It is. It looks wonderful.
All right.
All right.
So 70, 71.
So I'm very happy about this because we already had one of these characters and we lost them. Cyborg.
Cyborg. All right.
Exactly what
So
we
that's
need.
under Origin, Cyborg.
Yep. That's right.
Cyborg, not Cyborg. Yep.
All right. Now, cyborgs work very simply. You're under column 4 for all your generation needs, but you're also will have some minuses. So I'm going to let you make this decision instead of rolling for it. But do you want to be a cyborg in simply that you've had limb and organs replaced, right? Or do you want to be the type that is basically a brain in a metal body?
I think I'll go for the human who's been upgraded, augmented.
Okay. So just write down, other than column 4, you also get -1 column shift to intuition. So just put -1 intuition.
-1 intuition. Okay.
Okay. Now, in this game, more than likely you're going to be a technologically based cyborg, particularly in this shadow punky world that we're playing in. But you could go magical if you really wanted to. It's up to you.
I think I'll go tech. Go
Okay.
tech based.
It suits it more, but there is magic in this world. It's just it's not wide known. Nevertheless, all right. So next thing we're going to do is we're going to get your statistics. So I need you to roll that percentile dice 7 times for me, and each time you do, I'm going to give you a word, not a number. Okay?
All right. 94.
Nice. 94. All right. That gives you an amazing.
Amazing. Okay.
Yep.
96.
Amazing.
23.
Good.
28.
Good.
20.
Good.
That was an 80. It got bumped. All right. 33.
Still good.
And 52.
And that is a remarkable. Is that 7?
That's 7. Yep.
All right. So now, as you see, we're rolling numbers here, and you got ranks. You got these words represent a rank, and there's a number in all those ranks. All right. So next year 50. Next year amazing. Write the number 50. Okay. And next year goods. Write the numbers 10. And next year remarkable, write the number 30. Now these numbers are a range. That's why we use words in this game. Now they could have chose any kind of words they wanted, but of course they went with these words, which are very comic booky words, right? And it makes perfect sense actually. But the range is what's important. You guys are trained, so you are sitting at the mid range of whatever your power rank is. So I put you right dab in the middle. So as you gain ranks with your experience point spending, because you spend in ranks in this game, you don't gain experience and then get something for the level, right? So as you gain in your ranks, excuse me, you in your numbers, you will eventually will rank up. Right, so your good will eventually go to an excellent, etc., etc. That's how it works. So it's a cool little system. All right, now let's just hold on to that information. And then let's go over to our next thing. And I need you to write down 3 words: powers, talents, and contacts. And we're going to roll under each of those columns, and you're going to get a certain number of each. Okay?
Powers, talents, and contacts.
Mhm.
All right.
All right. So let's go ahead and do powers first. Roll the dice.
54.
All right, 54. Excellent. So 4.
Okay.
Talents.
71.
All right. That is 2. And
And
contacts.
contacts. 67.
67. All right. And that is 3. Nice. So you are well connected. I think you're probably the most connected one in the group, actually.
Right.
But now you can you can do some exchanging of some of these numbers, and you can only do it one direction. A power can be burned for 2 talents or a contact. All right. You can burn those. You don't need to burn for contacts. 3 is plenty. You don't need any
Yeah.
more. Because more than likely that at least one of the talents you choose will probably give you an extra contact anyway. That's kind of how it works. But you could burn a power or 2 even, and every power you burn gives you 2 talents. All right, so just keep that in mind. This is the not the basic system. This is the Ultimate Powers book, and it's kind of built like that. So, well, anyway, I don't need to get into that. All right, so let's go over now to our 4 powers, and let's just roll them up. After they've been rolled up, we can make decisions on how we want to adjust them. We can burn them for talents, well, whatever. We can do all kind of stuff. Well, let's just get the initial categories, and then from those categories, I'll let you choose on your own. Okay?
Okay. So just roll the dice 4 times.
Yep, that's right.
All right. So 21.
All right, excellent. That is energy emission.
Makes sense. For a cyborg.
Yeah, of course, it is perfect. Yeah.
All right, the second one is 98.
Travel.
Awesome. 54.
54. Matter creation.
Okay. And the last one is 87.
87 is free choice. Your choice, basically. You can take whatever you want. All right, let's take a look at what we got here now. Of course, the main thing you got there is the energy emission, really. The travel one, you could be a super speeder, you could be a flyer, you can, we can get into what you want to choose of that, but that's a little bit of an ancillary power, right? Your main power right now is your emission, and seeing as you are a cyborg, you don't have to, but I would think about maybe looking under the physical category for some manner of protection or regeneration or something like that. But we'll get to that in a minute. First of all, emissions. Now you have the ability, and we're going to roll under that same table that we did before to get your statistics to see what the power rank of this all these powers are. Okay, so we don't know how strong this is going to be, and you can burn some of these powers to plus one column shift up. By the way, we'll get into that later. But basically, you need to choose a one of these emission type of energies, but keep in mind, if this is built into you, meaning it's your power, it's part of you, it's just a standard rolling. But if you choose to make it, say, a weapon like a sidearm or something like that, you automatically get a plus one column shift to whatever your roll is, right? But
Okay.
nevertheless, let me tell you what you have available. You have cold, electrical, energy, fire, energy doppelganger actually, fire, hard radiation, heat, kinetic bolt, light emission, magnetism, plasma generation, radio wave, shadow casting, sonic, and vibration. So, which one of these energy types would you like your character to have?
Let's go with that hard radiation or whatever it was.
Yeah. Now, this is comic book hard radiation. It's not actual hard radiation that we would see in this world, but it is these words are important because of resistances people may have, right?
Mhm.
That's really what it comes down to, as it mechanically always is, right? All right, so hard radiation. So write that down.
Yep, done.
So maybe you have, maybe now what this is telling you about your Sorborg is maybe there's some energy in you that is making you run, making you last. Maybe you could be really old. Maybe you're from way back in the early war, and you're a soldier that's been blown up a bunch of times, and you're surviving because you got a little mini nuclear reactor in your chest, or something like that. This helps to inform what the character is, right? So you have
Yep.
hard radiation emission, and we'll get to its power rank later. Now your travel power, because that's the second easiest to deal with. You have several options, but I can kind of, bring it, summarize it down to hyper running, hyper jumping, or some manner of flight. Or, of course, if you want to burn some powers, you also could have teleportation, spider climb, et cetera, et cetera. You don't really have enough powers to get into the full teleportation chain because it's a very
Mm.
expensive one. So I wouldn't suggest that. But some manner of flight, hyper leaping, or hyper running, or possibly spider climb.
Let's go with hyperleaping.
Hyper leaping. All right. Cool. And then your matter creation that you had. This is kind of a sticky wicket because it's all expensive, and you have a bonus power to drop in, so you could get one of these, but you'd only have like a little piece of it. You wouldn't have the chain. So I'm kind of automatically wanting to suggest that you just use this as a burner.
Yeah.
All right, because
Yep.
you just don't have enough. Because when you could have rolled higher, and you could have ended up with like you know uh, 14 powers, right? And you could chain up stuff, and that's what usually happens with people with high powers. It's not like they got 14 actual powers; they just chain the expensive things to get those more unique power ranks. So what I would do now is focus on your free one. And basically, what that means is you tell me what you want, and I'll tell you what it's called.
Okay. All right. So I've got an attack power with my energy emission. I've got my travel. So I think I need to do defense. Some sort of either adaptive armor or some sort of force field or something. I think would be good.
Well, we could do both. You could do either. Sorry, you could do an adaptive type of armor with body resistance. You could do a force field generator for sure. You could also, with that burner that you have, that extra power which can be burned, you could for because some powers cost more than one, right? For 2 power points, for costing two, you could get regeneration.
Generation's pretty cool.
It is pretty cool.
So with the burner, could I burn that to like get super strength or something, or is it
You
all
could
random?
no you can always burn a power for a stat bump, always.
Okay.
Yeah.
I suppose I could already.
And that's
Those
simply
stats
a
I rolled
+1.
earlier.
Well, we don't know where they're going to go yet, but we're going
Yeah,
to make
okay. That's all I was
decisions,
going to
right?
ask.
But if you burn a power, it adds +1 column shift to any stat you choose. That's like an
Yeah.
automatic. Yeah.
Let's go with adaptive armor,
All right.
and let's bump the stat. I think.
Okay. So just write down adaptive armor. Now,
That's my spell.
if you link this, now this is my suggestion. I would link your adaptive armor to your. Actually, this is what I think you should do. I would write down the word energy source.
Where would I put that?
Just write it somewhere. Just write down the word energy source, and call it a nuclear heart, or nuclear cell heart.
Yep.
Okay, and then underneath of it, all your powers are listed. All right. So underneath that, as part of that, is your hard radiation and your adaptive armor, right? And maybe, I wouldn't put your ability boost. That's a separate issue. But those two things are directly linked to that. Now, what this does is it's going to give +1s to them. It's going to allow you to power stunt off of everything. The downside is if I shut your heart down, you lose all your ability. But then again, you die. So.
Yeah.
Um,
Right.
I would do
Yeah.
that
Sounds good.
because this is min maxing, right?
Okay.
Yeah. All
That
right.
makes sense. I kind of had that idea anyway. Like something happened to him in the past.
Yeah.
He's got this radiation in him. He has to have the cybernetics to like keep it contained almost,
Hmm.
and he can like emit blasts. He can use it to leap, all that kind of stuff. So that makes
Sure.
sense.
And some of the cybernetics in him are just there to apply the armor and apply the radiation use, and whatever stat you boost is further cybernetic. So if you did strength, or maybe your arms, or you lost your arms or something like that.
Yeah.
Those would be separate though. The stat boost would be a separate issue. Okay. Now,
No worries.
before we make the rolls and make decisions, though, there is an option with the stat boost. You could go straight stat boost, which is +1 column shift. That's it, right? So, say you ended up, because your stats are basically 2 amazings and a bunch of goods and a remarkable. They're not horrible. Those are good stats, right? The amazings are, a 50, a 50 strength, for instance. You're throwing around 40 tons. I mean, it's
Yeah.
the Hulk before he gets angry. It's no joke, right? But what you could do, instead of doing a straight just simple +1, so say taking a good to an excellent, a remarkable to incredible, etc., what you could do is a stat boost. Now, what that does is we're going to make a separate roll for that, and whatever that roll is, you add that to the stat for a short period of time. So
Okay.
you're charged up, and it's much more powerful, but it's limited.
Yeah.
Those are the two options you have with that. But nevertheless, let's roll up these four. Oh well, three. We have 3 powers we're dealing with right now. So let's roll those up. So go ahead and roll the dice again.
All right. Starting with energy.
No, you don't. No. Just roll the dice. We'll apply
All right.
later.
Okay. So 52.
That is a remarkable.
73.
That is an incredible.
I apologize, but this is a great idea, guys.
Oh, that's okay. We just transitioned over to it. And give me one more, dude.
37.
All right, and that is a good. All right. Now, if you decide that you want to do the stat as either a +1 or a boost, we'll have to roll. If you do a boost, we'll have to roll again. But to hold off on that. Let's see what develops with the creation of this character. And yeah, glad to have you back, DeWolf. But we'll just finish. We'll pick up next week, dude.
That's good. That's good.
So, anyway, so you're looking at these stats, right? Now,
Mhm.
let me give you kind of a range of what these stats mean, and this is good for the viewers as well. A typical is literally typical human ability. All right. A good is above average. So, say you had a good fighting, right? That would probably be someone like me, who's been a bouncer for a long time, right? Say you took fighting up to an excellent. Well, that's a trained soldier, like say maybe DeWolf here, right? Remarkable, that's a Green Beret, that's Rambo, right? Incredible, that is, elite of the elite, right? Amazing is Captain America, right? So I mean,
Yep.
that's how they statistically stack. With strength, typical into good, into excellent is up to around 800 pounds. Remarkable is a ton. Incredible is 10 tons. Amazing is 40 tons, etc. But this is how they kind of scale. Like an Olympic athlete would have anywhere between an excellent to a remarkable agility, for instance.
All right.
All right.
So
Mhm.
the phase rip stands for fighting, agility, strength, endurance, reason,
Mhm.
intelligence,
No,
and
intuition.
intuition and
Reason
psych.
reason is your intelligence, intuition is your wisdom, observation. For instance, Batman has a very high wisdom, right? Of course, he also has a high reason. His intuition would be very high, and your psyche is your willpower. What can you resist? How much can you take? How tough are you? For instance, Wolverine, he's not necessarily the most intellectual dude, but he's got an incredible willpower, right?
Yep. All right. So I think I'm going to boost the remarkable up one and just have 3 that I focus on, and then good in the rest.
Hey,
Okay.
what was the material creation you went with?
He didn't take
We
that.
we're gonna burn it.
He burned it.
We're gonna
Yeah.
burn it for a
Oh,
stat.
you burned it. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he doesn't have enough powers to get into the chains to make it valuable. I mean, if you want to do the matter control, matter creation, that kind of stuff, you really need like 8 to 12 powers to really chain that together to become something, right? But he didn't. He only had 4, which is fine because actually the character he's making is awesome. Sounds cool. He's gonna be strong
Yeah.
too.
Yeah. I think I'm gonna focus on combat. So he's not. I think most of his bottom 3 are gonna be goods, and I think I'm gonna put his agility at good. What do I use to actually shoot people with my hard radiation
Agility.
emission? Oh, okay. So I don't want that low.
Fighting is
Uh,
is fists. Agility is dodging and also using ranged weapon. Strength is, of course, strength, and endurance is yeah. It could be used in combat for charges. It's how well you can survive in situations. It's also your daily regeneration number. Also keep in mind that your psych is your daily regeneration number for your active karma as well.
okay.
So I want to kind of try to help out a little bit here,
Hmm.
just from my perspective of GMing and gaming and playing. So what does he have so far as far as his power base?
Power,
Yeah, go ahead. You explain it.
power base. I've got hard radiation emission. I've got hyperleaping and adaptive armor.
And then you got that fourth one that's the matter one, but you're going to sort of burn it to get something else.
Stat
Yeah, I was
boost.
thinking about burning it to boost my stats.
Oh, okay. All right. Let me. I'm gonna look to
Yeah,
see.
because 4 of my stats are only good.
Yeah.
and I could either boost remarkable up to excellent, I believe it is, or I could
No,
make one of those
incredible.
goods. Okay, and I could, or I can make a good.
Personally,
Excellent.
I would suggest making one of the goods an excellent.
Yeah. Okay.
His agility is that remarkable?
We haven't made a decision yet, dude.
Oh, yeah,
He's
that's what I
still
would go.
thinking about what he wants to do. Yeah. He needs to
But that's
have
it.
one of the higher numbers in the agility, obviously, because he does have a blasting power. But it doesn't have to be his most powerful thing. He could make himself just a fisticuff guy. Although it
Yeah,
might just
nobody hit
for
that shooting.
well, just for power party balance though. Beowulf, Ragnarok, Denali's character is a basically Luke Cage. So
Yeah, he's super strong and punches on. So it'd be good if I was ranged.
it might be good if you focus more on the range rather than the combat. Now that doesn't mean your combat is still going to be good, I think, but you maybe just for party balance you might want to do that.
Yeah.
How
All
many
right.
talents does he have?
He's sitting on 2, yeah.
Okay, I'll go look at that.
So what would you recommend? Fighting at, say, good, agility amazing, strength.
Well, I would raise up, like I said, I would bump one of the goods to an excellent. And I would put 3 goods down on my mental things because they're all above average, and you're not. That's not your job. You're not. DeWolf is kind of the thinker. The detective
No, I'm not.
espionage is George. Well, I mean, you're supposed to be. But I would put the 3 goods down in the reason, intuition, and psych, and then I would take the other 4, the 2 amazings, the 2 amazings, remarkable, and the excellent, and put them in your physical stats. And seeing as you're not a full-on body cyborg, you don't necessarily have to put one of those 50s in the strength, dude. Matter of fact,
Yeah.
you might want to put the excellent in there. That's still amazing. You can lift 800 pounds and throw it around. That's kind of Captain America almost, right? You're not necessarily a full body cyborg suit, but you've been enhanced a little bit, right? And then take like the remarkable and put that in your fighting, which would you were elite soldier. It's exactly what it says about you. And then take the 250s, put one in the amazing, which means you're more of a speed cyborg, a fast moving cyborg, and then put the other 50 in your endurance, which makes perfect sense. You have a nuclear heart.
Yep.
I,
So
I'm about
excellent
to,
rank is 20, is it?
Yeah, well, the number wise, that's the number. It's 20. Yeah.
I'm about to throw you for a little bit of a change here.
hmm
Okay.
So there's no one in our group that is actually really very smart. Okay, my mentalism is getting into people's heads,
hmm
but I'm not. But I'm not smart. Okay, there's no one else that really is. So I would say you're a cyborg. Go with a talent of repair, tinkering, or engineering, and take one of those other high stats and throw it into your reason. And now you become someone that also is the gadget guy or
Could do that.
the smart dude that,
Yeah.
that fixes or changes or even breaks or hacks into things,
Yep.
as well
Security.
as
Maybe
shoots
take
range
security
blasts.
as the second one. Security systems as the second talent. You also could take one of those 50s
Yeah,
and throw it into your wisdom, excuse me, your intuition, which means nothing escapes your sight, dude. You are
Okay.
aware. I mean, we're talking
yeah.
like that's Doctor Strange level of awareness, right?
What's your power level of that armor ability?
We haven't made a decision
We
yet.
haven't signed it yet, but I've got remarkable, incredible, and good.
Yeah.
Oh, so something has to be good. I would make that the leaping,
Yeah, I was thinking that.
and then you have an incredible range blast, which is incredible, and then a remarkable ability of absorbing damage. That's really good.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm happy to do whatever works best for the party. So if you think I should go intelligence based, I will.
Well,
Yeah, go genius level and go engineering and tinkering, and then you have a tool bag and you can just fix or break things.
from the outset, it is cool as far as visually or auditorily, I guess, since we're listening to it. But in gameplay terms, it's not going to help you much.
Yeah.
It's really not,
Oh,
because repair
I see.
tinkering takes time, DeWolf. It's not on the fly.
It also means that his character can also fix himself
It
because he's a
does.
cyborg.
And it also means that in between sessions he can do stuff. Especially when we have sessions where, in between down sessions, right? That he could do. So he could be very, very useful in those situations. But the session to session in game play, it's not going to be very valuable to him as a
We
player.
have extended time during the game sometimes, but
Sometimes, but I mean,
you
we're
know,
talking days, right?
I digress.
Yeah, I
Well,
get your point,
that's why you
DeWolf. I
repair
understand.
tinkering.
And if we were running a long-term campaign, which who knows, maybe we will be, that probably would be a really useful move. But basically, what comes down to Beowulf is, what do you want, dude? Because his suggestion is very viable. And then, of course, the one I gave you is kind of the standard gamer way to do it, right? But they're both value. They both have value. And like I said, I don't know how long we're going to be running this campaign. I'm loving it. So if you guys want to continue playing on, then DeWolf's probably would be better long term than.
Well, let me say this: the repair tinker skill can actually be used within hours. You're right. Engineering is a days long process,
Yes.
but just to repair something and jury rig is meant for just a few hours
Yeah, it's
or
true.
minutes.
That is true.
That's why that's what what I would go with there. You mentioned security, and that's blatantly breaking into things.
Yes, I would definitely. If he's going to go that route, I would take the second talent as actually, I think what I would do is take military, actually, and then under the
Yeah, I think
military.
what I'm going to do, because I'm so new to the system, I think I'm going to go for the basic just shoot stuff route.
Okay,
Um,
this is the soldier.
yeah, I'll take. Yeah, I don't know, because you're mentioning all these talents. I don't know what they do or how to use them. So I think I'm just going to do the backup. I was a soldier. Some horrible nuclear thing happened. They built cyborgs onto me to keep me alive. It powers my cyborgs. I can shoot stuff.
He might have just been blown up.
Yeah, pretty basic, pretty straightforward. But I think that's going to be easier to learn the system. And then if it does turn into a long-term campaign, I can roll up another character or get this one
Or you can
better at
just
stuff.
experience yourself into it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to take agility is going to be amazing because that makes the most sense to me with the fact I have a laser cannon thing, radiation emission. Uh,
And with that
strength,
level,
I'm thinking about keeping strength just at excellent.
yeah, I
Yeah,
think it makes more sense for your character because he's not a full body cyborg.
Yeah, and we've got Denali, so anything that needs to be lifted, he's going to be able to do, no worries.
Mhm.
Uh, should I make fighting remarkable?
I think that would probably be the smart move, yeah. Or well, no, no, hold on. Now let's think about it for a
Yep.
second. If you put remarkable into your endurance, this is the peak of human ability. So the nuclear heart is keeping you at peak ability. Now it limits you as far as environments you can survive in and stuff, and your regenerative daily regenerative ability. But if you put amazing into the fighting, well, that's Captain America, right? You're one of the best fighters on the planet. I mean, plain and simple.
Yeah, no, that sounds awesome. I like that.
Yeah.
All right, so amazing, amazing, excellent, remarkable, good, good, good.
Okay. And then good, good, good. Now
he
we
needs to
need
be
to
able to
know.
hit. He
Go
doesn't need
ahead.
to be able to hit with the radiation though.
I'm sorry. What'd you say?
Just being able to hit with that radiation.
Oh, it's
I
going to be
digress.
ridiculous. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
Now
okay.
you want to think about that though, Beowulf, because if you have amazing fighting and you're only hitting for 20 damage with your excellence, it's it's a bit wasteful. Yeah. I mean, if we're
Okay.
min maxing, I think I would put remarkable fighting and amazing endurance. I think it plays out for you better.
Okay,
And
that's what I was going to do.
it makes more sense for the nuclear heart as well.
The fighting's remarkable,
Yeah, it
and
makes
my
more sense.
endurance is
You're a
amazing.
range guy. That's your sniper, right?
Yep.
Right. I think that'll work out better for you. Now, your power ranks that you had. Now, we rolled up a 20, 30, and a 40, right?
Yeah, remarkable, incredible, good.
Okay. Oh, remarkable, incredible, good. Okay, so we have, and your powers are a blade of armor, hard radiation, and what was the third one? Oh, hyper leaping. Um,
Yeah.
hmm,
I think hyperleaping is going to be good.
probably. Oh, I since you're a blaster, I'd go with incredible in the hard radiation generation, dude. The emission,
Yeah.
and put the
But does
Now
remarkable.
that
it says
basically do damage? Is that my damage or what?
That's your damage, yeah. 40.
it
Yep.
says it says if you specialize in one spectrum, you get a +1 column shift.
Yes, well, he's getting. I've already done that. I put him under the his he has an energy source, which is his nuclear
Oh,
heart,
okay.
and everything is
Oh,
arrayed
okay.
under it, so he's getting +1 to everything anyway. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah. So yeah, they're actually it's an amazing, an incredible, and an excellent is actually the numbers they are. So you're hitting really hard with those blasts, dude, and because your agility and your endurance is so high, you can actually control how hard you hit almost perfectly. So you can go anywhere from a 50 damage, which is your full-on blast, all the way down to like a 4, right? So because your like I said, your agility is 50, your endurance is 50. This allows you complete control over your power, which is kind of cool. So you're not a wild at all. You're not just killing people. You can pull your punch, as it were, completely. So you can literally do anywhere between 4 and 50 damage, your choice. Right now, you're a soldier. Maybe killing isn't a big deal to you, but it depends on what kind of character you want to play. But that's a nice little side aside as well. And then I guess the other decision we need to make, or you did that +1. All right, so write down that you boosted a stat or +1 to a stat, which was strength, right?
I can't remember.
Yeah, it was. You turned the good to an excellent. So write down
Yep.
+1 to strength boost. Or not boost, sorry, just +1 to strength. And this course will inform what your character looks like, right? So you have things that have made you a little stronger, a little bit, not a lot. The nuclear heart is what's giving you that ridiculous endurance. Your fighting ability was already high, which is probably why you were chosen. And then the energized cybernetic form you have has made you even better. So yeah, I think we have a character. All right.
Yep.
So let me just give the details then.
Oh, hold on.
Yeah.
I'll do my
I got
talent.
I got yeah, well there's the talent. But on this hyper leaping, what is your strength again?
My strength is excellent.
Yeah.
It
So
says under this rule that the power's minimum is 1 column shift higher than your strength.
yes, I know. That's why I had him do it, dude.
Well, fine. Okay.
So
Thought I
what,
was helping.
what does that mean?
That means I'm min-maxing for you on the other side, dude. Don't worry
It
about it.
means
I got
it
you.
means you went from good to a remarkable, and
Yes.
you can go 40 feet up and across.
I'm
Sweet.
loopholing the system for you. But anyway, let's get the powers written down. So your hard radiation, you have your energy source. Now your energy source itself is going to be +1 column shift of your highest power in the array. So your highest power in that array is going to be incredible. So that your energy is 50. So go ahead and put that at energy source, put down amazing 50 or AM/50.
Okay.
All right. And then under that, of course, you have your hard radiation emission, and that is going to be at 50 as well. But now, that's
Well, hang on a second. Sorry, I'm confused now. Energy emissions at 50. Amazing 50.
your hard radiation emission is at 50, yes, because you're
Yeah.
in an array. You're getting a +1 column shift. All right.
Yep.
So Now, next to that amazing /50, in parentheses, you want to write down that you can deliver damage between 4 and 50. You have complete control over it. So say you want to do 20 points of damage. No problem. You can choose how much damage you want to do, because if you go and do a 50 full on 50 blast to a human, well, it's a dead human, right? You just
Yeah.
literally kill them on the spot, and maybe that's not something you want to do, right? But because of your stats, you have complete control over it. So that's an important point to write down. And then underneath of that, you want to write down your ablative armor,
Yep.
and that's sitting at incredible.
Okay, so it gets bumped up, does it?
Yes, it does, because we put everything under an array. Now, understand though, if I shut down your nuclear heart, all your powers go away. But like I said, and then you're also dead. So it doesn't really matter.
Did you say ablative armor?
Ablative armor, yeah.
Oh, what's that under?
I'm just putting it under body resistance.
Oh, okay.
But when energy comes in, I will allow him to a power stunt focuses off. So say for instance, he decides he wants to have the ablative armor reactive to electricity, for instance, or physical even. Then he could power stunt into having that a +1 column shift versus that, right?
All right, and then so my hyperleaping will be at.
Oh, your hyperleaping is going to be set at +1 of your strength, so the good doesn't really matter, and so it's a remarkable. And you are 40 feet up and across, and 60 feet down. So it's pretty good.
Awesome.
Yep. All right, so that's that. And you wrote down the stat bump already, and we know that's applying to your strength. So some of the cybernetics is applying that. Now what we need to do is make some decisions about your talents. All right. Now you have 2 talents, and so I'm thinking you kind of like automatically need to take military,
I agree.
and then you just tell me what else you want, and
What
I'll tell you what it should be.
What are my options?
Well, any kind of talent. We have some that are based. This is also, you can also use the word skill, right? But say any kind of weapon skills or fight martial arts skills or wrestling or whatever. You could also have professional skills like medicine or law enforcement, or of course military. I just gave you that one. Detective espionage might be neat depending on what your background was. Scientific skills, mystical skills, which might not apply to you. There's some other talents like art, language, first aid, repair, tinkering. You can still take the repair, tinkering. Although you wouldn't be really good at it.
Oh, darn.
What about like vehicles or something?
Oh, piloting, sure. Yeah, pilot/drive. Yeah.
Pilot/drive. All right, cool. And I'll let you kind of come up with the context, or
No,
how does
you
that
come
work?
up with it for sure.
Okay.
You have all the information you need to create a background for your character. I would also suggest that you find some piece of art to represent you, or get one of the many artists around us to do something for you if they have time. But the internet's full of art, dude. Yeah.
Being prior military, I mean, you've always got a mate out there that you've dealt with, before, that has you've worked with in the military.
Now
Maybe an officer, or even.
Yeah. So what I was thinking with this character was he was in the military. I was thinking perhaps there was like some sort of experiment to try to make super soldiers to compete with these mutant freaks.
Sure.
And it went.
That's already
basically went.
That's already part of the campaign lore, dude.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And then maybe like this whatever experiment, it had to do with obviously radiation. It went sort of wrong. The kind of like that classic trope where like there's too much energy in him now.
Hmm.
So he has to have like all these cybernetic stuff to basically contain it.
Awesome.
So when he's doing his hard radiation energy emission, that's basically he's just channeling what would be a 360 explosion that would destroy everything. He's just channeling it
Yeah.
into
Turning off the
blast.
fail safes. Yeah.
Yeah, and maybe the reason you have such precise control is because of all the cybernetics. Sure.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. It's all designed to contain it and to direct it.
Yeah, awesome, dude. Just write it down as background, and next week when we come on, you tell us who you are, right? But
No
yeah,
worries.
you got the idea, and you just go with it, have fun, use your imagination, right? But last bit we need to do is your contacts, which you have three, which I think is the highest. How much do you have, DeWolf?
For context,
Yeah,
I got none.
yeah, and Denali had like two, I think, right?
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And I think I gave you one of those. So you are the most connected person here. You have three contacts, plus you're automatically getting one. Well, two, really. So underneath the contact heading, I need you to write down Order of the Sun. Okay.
Order
Underneath,
of the Sun.
yeah, which everybody here has that, whether they've written it down or not. Underneath that, you need to write down Jupiter 10, which is the group you're trained with and you're part of.
Good.
All right. And what I'll simply do next week is because they have to go back in, they feel they need a little bit more firepower, so they send you in with them. It's
Mm-hmm.
simple,
Makes
right?
sense.
And then you
Yeah.
get three more contacts. So contacts can be anything from, simply a journalist to a crime lord to a scientist to a government agency. And keep in mind, in this world, there are now thousands of countries, nations, kingdoms, things like that. But the real major governing body that's kind of come out of all the wars that's been going over the past 40 years is the UKA, right? So,
Yep.
you know, you can even have a connection to other hero groups. You just tell me what you think would be a cool contact, and I'll tell you what it falls under.
Yeah, so I think to wolf onto something, the first one should be related to my military background. So maybe an old friend who's a career soldier. He might even be an officer by now.
Sure.
Or someone who helped create you.
Yeah,
Or
well, so
scientist.
I was thinking someone in the military, maybe a scientist as well, and then the third one would be some sort of cybernetic, um, like a street level guy or like a black market level dude who
Sure.
deals in cybernetics and stuff.
Awesome. Well, I got you covered. Write down military
Military.
under contacts, and then you create anybody's name you want. Now, keep in mind these contacts. Obviously, you know who knows. Maybe your character knows hundreds of people. These are not your friends per se. These are people who have uh, influence or who have access for you. These are your most important friends, right?
Yep.
That's what contacts are. It's not talking about who everybody you know. It's very precise. But anyway, write down military, and then you create the name of the person and say who he is, rank, whatever. You can literally have anything up to a general. It's fine. It's a contact, so they're not small things. The scientist who created you, well, once again, write down science, and then write down the dude's name, who is the boss.
Someone who knows cybernetics would be really cool right about now.
It would be. It would be. And of course, he would certainly be a cybernetic scientist, but cyberneticist. But just write down that name, okay? And then the last one is going to be Underworld.
Bum bum
Bum,
bum.
bum, bum, and then write down that person's name and specifically what they are. So understand that you need to detail out who these people are and what they're connected to, for my purposes and for yours. So once you make the decision, it's done, right? So think about it. There's no statistics or numbers or anything like that attached to this, but in game, contacts can play out hugely. I mean, really, really huge. It's huge.
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 Yeah.
All right.
So make
Hey,
sure you detail these out because they're far more useful than you might think.
you know what? Now that you talk about contacts and the fact that I don't have any, that actually helped me determine some of my own character background. For instance, being a lab rat, right? Finding this mutant who can manipulate things with his mind at an early age,
Hmm.
and then going into the system. And so he's basically just a company man. He doesn't know anybody but Order of the Sun,
Yeah,
and he's just been a lab rat ever since.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
And no, that's the great thing about this system, man. It's every role and decision you make informs the next. It's
yeah,
really
yeah.
beautiful system. It really is.
That's what RP is all about, really.
True.
And building stories. RP is all about building stories. And we got here because we like comics, and comics is all about those stories as well.
Yeah.
And so this medium just allows you to create story after story after story, and it's one in which you are fully invested in, because you're there as a player and as a GM, and is one of the more fun interactions that we have, I think, in this day and age, that is social. you
Yeah.
know which normally I do at tabletop, but here we're able to do it across the world. And I think this is an amazing concept, an amazing idea, and the world we live in now.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Absolutely, dude. And yeah, I love doing role playing, and honestly, I haven't been on the run in a while. Some years back, there were a bunch of foreigners around here that were part of the local Japanese jet program, and so we did have some role playing over here, but it's been a few years for me. So I'm actually having a lot of fun DMing again, just creating stories and having them develop.
Oh
It's
yeah,
fun.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
So, just a couple more questions for bookkeeping. Health is
Oh yeah,
the
sorry.
added up of face.
That's right.
Is that
F
correct?
fighting, agility, strength, endurance is your health, and reason, intuition, psych is your karma. Also, I need you to write down. So you have a 30 in your karma, right? Next
Yeah,
to that,
karma's 30.
30, I need you to write down the word active karma, or the excuse me, the phrase active karma, and then I need you to put 30 next to that as well, because your karma, the karma number, only changes with experience points, right? The
Yep.
active karma is an active thing. It goes up and down because you can spend karma to boost your chances to get certain colors. Because in this game, it's not about the number, it's about the column success or column shift or what have you. And we have a failure would be white, green is basic success, yellow is better, and red is critical success, right? So you can use karma to guarantee yourself something or guarantee success in something in some way. But every day, any wounds or damage you have, you gain your endurance back into your health. So that's how you heal. And you gain your psych back into your active karma, right? So every day you would get 10 back in your active karma. Now, because in this game it's very basic, and I don't not everybody's not a experienced player. I basically put a med lab in there in your transport, so you guys can heal it up, and every day you'll be full point, full health, so it's not a big deal. I think that's
Awesome.
it, right? Did I forget anything, DeWolf?
If you had, I forgot as well.
Yeah, I mean, you could write down popularity of 10, but it doesn't really
Oh
matter.
yeah, yeah.
For right now, it doesn't matter.
I mean, there's always equipment, but
Yeah.
as I thought about it over the week, and I basically realized that one of our members needed some armor, and if we're coming from an organization, they should be able to provide that, which is why I said it the way I did.
That's right.
In this particular case, equipment is something that also can be taken away. So if you're
Yeah.
creating a super group who already has powers and who has abilities and skills, you don't want them to be in a situation where they can take away an awesome gun, an awesome piece of equipment, communications and the like. For instance, actually communications isn't a bad idea. On our particular team, we have me, which provide
Sure.
comms. But if I'm knocked out, communications is a big deal.
Yeah. And
Other than that, I'm not sure I would give a team like this a lot of equipment.
no.
Maybe a few small items, but No grenades, no guns, nothing like that, because it can always be taken away and used against the world at large.
That's possibly true, but Beowulf, any kind of equipment or things that your character has, you can write that down for fluff, dude. Like your apartment layout, or your costume, a backpack or a satchel with this or that, and those are all part of the creation process. So you can do with that as you like, of course. You're accustomed to D&D. I'm assuming, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so you
Been
know it.
playing for a while.
But yeah, awesome. All right.
All right.
So we will have Beowulf joining the team next week, which is good because that allows me to power up the encounters. Maybe I'll get one of them. Maybe. But so we're gonna have much tougher combat next week than I had initially created. So good. But other than that, Denali, tell them what they need to know, and take us out of here, man.
All right. Well, thank everybody for joining us on this stream. It was very interesting. We got to see another refresher of the character creation, thanks to Beowulf. Join us next week on Bugbear Basement to continue this mission and this budding supervillain team as they try to take out the Razorback to get the Black Lotus. And you'll see how much shenanigans we'll get into. It'll be fun as we recklessly Rico it, but it's going to be fun. Join us tomorrow for Comics News Today. And tomorrow is going to be Blacklist Universe, the Pro Edition of Drawn and Quarter. And followed by, on Thursday, the fan edition of Drawn and Quarter with Comics News Today, 2 hours at 8 o'clock. And then Friday, I'm not sure if Friday we have Fanspeak, because are you still doing the one-off one each month? Or is that completely done, Chester?
Oh no, well, we definitely have it up until for this month anyway. In May, where Fanspeak is being moved to Saturday, and we'll have to make a decision about Bunny Vision movie night actually. But
Right.
no, this month Fanspeak is untouched. Yeah.
All right. And we have then Bunny Vision on Saturday, and we also have TFT on Sunday, where we're talking about conspiracy. And join us for our next conspiracy topic that we always just tiptoe in the water, never wade in enough, but it's always a lot of fun. But as always, your perception shapes your reality, so always make it a good one.
Namaste.
Namaste.
Take care.
Later, guys.
Aloha.